82 degrees tomorrow in Rockaway?
Oh,
The high, yeah.
Hmm.
What it says.
Time for your shorts.
That's
Wow.
right.
Except you have to put them away the next day.
What are you laughing about, Sackett?
I want to see
What?
Manny running around in shorts. I'll be honest. That's my opinion.
That's okay. I got nice legs.
oh God.
We're going to take
Oh.
that. We're going to take that under advisement if you don't mind.
That's more information than we need.
Hi, Mary.
Hello, how are you?
Very good, thanks.
Good.
Chrissy, does Avery have shorts yet?
Avery's summer wardrobe far exceeds mine. Let's just put it that way. Little girl's not even 6 months old yet. She's got like 15 pairs of shorts. She has all sorts of cute dresses, rompers. She's going to be styling this summer.
Yeah, you got
There you
four-
go.
Well, you
How's
got
she fit?
4T, 6T, 8T. Just keeps on going.
Oh my gosh.
How's she feeling?
She's still a little booger monster, but
Hey,
her cough seems to be getting better. It's not as frequent as it was. It just still sounds so nasty.
what are you allowed to give babies in these days?
Nothing really.
No?
No.
I remember I used to give my kids a shot of bourbon. It really worked.
Yeah, we're not allowed to do that anymore.
Oh my God. I burped. I don't know. With me, it was Manischewitz. It was pretty. Maybe it's like,
Manny, this is 2 meetings in a row when you've been online.
I've been on all the time. Sometimes it's just a little bit longer. You should see me on 80 to get home. So I don't get held up.
I am noticing the traffic's building up.
Yeah. It's crazy in the morning.
How far do you have to
Especially-
go, man?
I'm pretty lucky. When I go into the office, my corporate office is in Pinebrook, so that's not bad.
Oh.
The traffic I hit is we're 287 and 80. Because everybody gets to the right. You got 2-3 lanes and they try to merge so they don't have to, but it always backs up, on the shoulder.
Is anybody here besides me old enough to remember the Pinebrook auction?
Yeah, I remember.
Yes.
I remember that. Sure.
That whole area, which is all offices, light industrial, motels, whatever it was the Pinebrook auction. And then you went down to the mall, which was, when I was a kid, the Circle O Ranch. You could get pony rides. I never trusted those things. They looked like you had an ass on both ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when 46 was dirt.
Come on now, Manny.
No, 80.
No, there was some paving there. There was no Route 80.
You took the canal there.
46 came out about as far as Morris Plains or somewhere in there, Parsippany.
Yeah, what was
And
the
then-
name of the dairy barn out that way? Was it O'Dowd's? I think it was.
O'Dowd's.
No
Yeah.
doubt.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It
used
was
to
still,
go there as
it
well.
was still there in the 70s.
Yep.
Remember
And
that?
just before O'Dowd's, there was Wetson hamburgers. Wetson's, 10 cents a burger.
Wetson's, yep.
That's
Man,
nothing. I got White Castles for a nickel.
Where are we talking? geographically?
I'm a Brooklyn boy.
Okay, well, you know, the prices were cheaper in the city. What can I tell you?
No, they sold the White Castle out here for a nickel too.
There was a White Castle on the border of Newark and East Orange. Okay, if you had a hamburger there, you better be close to a bathroom.
Yeah. Now they got the one on by Passaic on Clifton, Piaget Avenue.
Yeah, Piaget Avenue. Yeah.
That's where I used to go.
All right, Chrissy, it's 6:30. Are we live and recording?
Yes, we are.
All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order at 6:30. Please join me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands
One
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice
for all.
For all.
Okay, I'd like to take a moment of silence to remember the service and sacrifices of the armed service members who protect our nation and the first responders who protect our neighborhoods.
Council President, can I add somebody to that?
Absolutely. Go ahead, Mr. Kelly.
Many of you that had the privilege to serve along with Councilwoman Phyllis Smith, regrettably to inform you that her mother had recently passed away on the 20th of April. She did reach the ability to be a centenarian. She became 100 years old on the 16th. I don't know if any of you had the opportunity to actually meet her or be in the presence with her, but that woman could light up a room, not only with her voice and her conversation, but her smile. She was a Fox Hills resident up to her passing, and she will deeply be missed. So my condolences to the Donovan and the Smith family. Thank you.
That's terrible news. Okay, please join me. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly,
Present.
Councilmember Quinn,
Here.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Here,
Councilmember Kritz,
Here.
Councilmember Salberg, Councilmember Brooks,
Here.
Councilmember Noon,
Here.
Vice President Sackett,
Here.
President Jackson,
Here, we have a quorum. Please be advised that all electronic remote meetings of the Township Council held on WebEx are recorded. All members of the public will be provided the opportunity to speak. During any public hearing or open to the public sections of the meeting, the Township Clerk will unmute each member of the public and ask if they wish to speak. As per Rockaway Township Code 2-5.14, any person desiring to address the council shall first seek recognition by the presiding officer, and upon recognition by the chair, the person shall give their name and address for the record. Unless further time is granted by the council, they shall limit their statement to 5 minutes. Statements shall be addressed to the council as a body and not to any member thereof. A councilman shall not direct any questions to the speaker addressing the council except through the presiding officer. In addition to speaking on the record during council meetings, members of the public may submit questions and comments to the council by emailing questions@rockawaytownship.org by the end of the open to the public session. Next item, this meeting was advertised in the Daily Record and the Star Ledger, the official newspaper for the Township of Rockaway, on April 10th, 2021. Notice was posted on the official bulletin boards of Rockaway Township. Before we get to the rest of the agenda, we had a late addition to the agenda, item 12, and I'd like to make a motion to remove that item from the agenda.
Second that.
Second that.
Discussion, your Council President?
Sure, I'll lead the discussion first and I'll have 5 minutes of discussion in total. We're here to conduct business for the township. Ordinances, resolution, things of that nature, citizens' concerns, things of that nature. When I look at the subject matter of what was added to the agenda, it's clearly, a personal issue you're having with the mayor. and it's not something that needs to be discussed by the council or addressed by the council, you need to call the mayor and handle it on your own. So there's no point in having it or discussing it during a council meeting. That's not what we're here to do.
May I have the floor, Council President?
You can.
In response to that comment, unfortunately, I don't know if your memory is not with us with regard to the last couple of meetings. There was things that were brought up, especially by not only the mayor and your comments, as well as our town attorneys, Mr. Perone and Mr. Yachafano. And we're addressing something that deals with the Faulkner Act that the governing body is a form of this elected officials, and we're dealing with 4069A37(1), which is really the ability of what the council can and can't do with regards to having reports created and getting documentation with regard to anything that might be falling under investigatory status. And then we're dealing with Title 47(1)(a)(1) when it deals with Oprah. Now, when the mayor tries to have communications with us via email, and Council President, I know you're getting somewhat knowledgeable when it comes to OPMA, he's having these conversations about business, and then he's copying all of the members of the governing body, potentially putting us in some kind of a risk of violating OPA because of electronic communications that continue, not just with one, the mayor and myself, but all of you guys. That would be 9 sitting members of this governing body. Our council meetings just aren't reference to what you believe that they're for. It's the ability to have discussions amongst all of us while we're having a quorum and having some kind of an unargumentative debate of things moving forward. Now, we have the town attorneys that are telling us, you know, this is how you have to get records and this is how you have to request reports and whatnot. But the memos that we're getting from Mr. Perone and Mr. Yachafano are completely opposite of what it is. And here we are in a forum to actually talk about it. If you recall, Council President, the mayor had called me a liar on numerous amount of occasions, saying that I never submitted a request under 4069A37(1). Now, the backup data that you have actually validates that that comment is false from the mayor. I'm not a liar. And I did head forward that particular statute, made a request for a report, and never received the report. But everybody says that I never did it. So the problem is that we can have a discussion, get better clarity of what the council needs to do in order to achieve records that are part of helping us with the process going forward. And under that statute, under 69A37(1), it doesn't limit a council member as to what he's asking for. It doesn't give the mayor carte blanche to say, well, maybe I want to give you that, maybe I don't want to give you that information. It's an avenue for that. And then Oprah, when things like this happen, where administration, again, if many of you had read the supporting material that was given, it shows the administration's not even willing to give information. Hence, you have to use Oprah to compel my own administration to provide us with documentation. I'm not very fortunate, Mr. Jackson, to where you can just ask the mayor or ask the attorney or direct the clerk to get information for you. You have that privilege. I don't. But nowhere in our code, nowhere under 4069A37(1) gives you that ability or any other person the ability of that consideration or courtesy. Not once has this council ever made a motion to have the mayor's administration produce records, yet you guys continually get records. You don't have to use Oprah. I do. So why do you want to pull this item off? Because you're saying that, you know, you don't want anybody to know anything about this communication that the mayor and I are having about getting documentation and information. And it's for my job to represent my constituents to see what we're spending money on, what we're doing, billing cycles that are going on, just with even our own town attorney invoices. They're public record. Why wouldn't you give them to me? I don't have to ask the mayor for them. None of this stuff is mandatory, by the way. It's very clear in the statute. We may ask the mayor for a report, but we're not asking the mayor to provide documentation. And if we were under that statute provided, we would have to do it by way of vote. There's no ambiguity when it comes to that particular statute, Council President. I know you can raise your eyes and you don't take this seriously or whatnot. Again, you could easily provide the information. Now, one thing that was provided in the memo from Mr. Perone was that you had made an open request for your own email. And that I'm not the one providing the email when you really didn't identify the sender, the recipient, the subject matter, and the
Okay,
time.
time's up, Mr. Kelly. You're
See,
droning on.
There you
There's
go.
one-
That's
there's one
how it
person-
works.
There's one person in this town that cares about what you're talking about, and it's you. You're droning on like you always do. Clerk, please take the roll call to remove item 12.
Councilmember Kelly,
No.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilmember Kritz,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson,
Yes, that's 8 yeses and 1 no. The item will be removed. And at this point, I'm going to foreclose any discussion on the subject matter and new old business or council reports. This subject matter has nothing to do with the business conducted by this council during our meetings. And
Council
if it
President,
comes
you
up-
can't do that.
If it comes up during your report, you'll be called out of order. So
You
let's
can't do
move
that,
on.
Council
Next
President.
is the approval of minutes, April 13th, 2021, regular minutes meeting. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. I think that was Mr.
I'm
Quinn,
sorry,
Mr.
who was our
Brooks. I
second?
think, was it Mr. Brooks? Or Manny?
Thank you.
All right, clerk, you take the roll
Brooks was
call?
second.
Mhm.
Councilmember Kelly,
No.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilmember Kritz,
Abstain.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson,
Yes, that's 7 yeses, 1 abstention, and 1 no. The meeting's minutes are approved. Next are ordinances to adopt. We have O-21-20, an ordinance amending Chapter 14 entitled Property Maintenance of the General Ordinances of the Township of Rockaway. Can I have a motion?
I
So
make a
moved.
motion.
All right, Mr. Quinn and Mr. Friedlander. Clerk, you can open up the public discussion.
Jim Waters,
No comment, thank you.
Lily Sweet,
No comment.
Paul Manana,
No comment.
William Degnan.
No comment.
That's it for members of the public.
Yep, I'll now open it for 5 minutes of council discussion if anybody has anything.
Should we check with Ms. Seeger to see if maybe we have?
Oh, yeah,
emails?
Ms. Seeger. Yeah, that's a good idea. Thanks, Chrissy. Did anybody have any questions in the comments in the email, Ms. Seeger?
Not at this time, sir.
Okay. Any council discussion? Okay, clerk, you can take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly,
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilmember Kritz,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson,
Yes, that's 9 yeses. Ordinance is adopted. Next is open to the public. I'll start, Mrs. Seeger. Are there any emails yet into the public, from the public? Any questions?
No, Council President.
Okay. Okay, Chrissy, you can go through the public.
Jim Waters,
Yeah, Jim Waters, 48 Seneca Avenue in the township. Actually, I wanted to have an ice cream truck visit you guys tonight, but I couldn't find somebody who would stop at 10 different places, so we'll have to do it when we get together again. Have fun tonight, guys. Thank you.
Lily Sweet,
Nothing to report except Happy Mother's Day.
Paul Manetta,
Nothing.
William Degnan.
No comment.
That's it for members of the public.
Okay. Pat, has anybody else, has anybody emailed in yet?
No, no,
Okay.
Council President.
Okay, next we have ordinances to introduce, A O-21-21, an ordinance amending Chapter 6 Alcoholic Beverage Control of the General Ordinances of the Township of Rockaway. Can I have a motion?
So move.
Second,
Okay, clerk, you can take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly,
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
yes.
Councilmember Kritz,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson,
Yes, that's 9 yeses. Motion carries. Next, O-21-22, an ordinance amending Chapter 10 entitled Police Department of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Rockaway to provide the administration with discretion to hire entry-level police officers pursuant to NJSA 11A:14-1.3. Can I have a motion?
So move.
I'll second it too.
Manny? Mr.
Discussion
Quinn?
on that, Council President? I know that's not a requirement, but nothing bars us
No.
to talk about this.
Nope, no discussion. Clerk, you can take the
Why
roll
is
call.
that, Council President?
I don't have to answer your questions, Mr. Kelly. Clerk, take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly,
No.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes,
Councilmember Kritz,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson,
Yes, that's 8 yeses, 1 no. Motion carries. Next is the consent agenda. We have R21-75, R21-76, R21-77, R21-78, R21-79, R21-80, R21-81, and R21-82. Can I have a motion?
I make a motion, Council President, to remove R2180 and R2181 for discussion. And I did send the clerk an email. Appointments are not on the consent agenda. I did provide it with a clerk reference from the state of New Jersey. And if there is any request for discussion, it shall be removed from the consent agenda.
So, does anybody want to second that, his motion?
I'll second that.
Who's
Thank
that,
you.
Adam?
Thank you, Mr. Salberg.
Clerk, you take the roll call?
Councilmember Kelly,
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
no, yes,
Councilmember Kritz,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon, Vice President Sackett,
No.
President Jackson,
No, that's 7 yeses, 2 nos. The items will be removed for discussion. I'll allow for 5 minutes of discussion.
Could we possibly approve the rest
Yep,
of the
so-
consent agenda?
So could I get a motion to approve R21-75, R21-76, R21-77, R21-78, R21-79, R21-82?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Quinn, clerk, you can take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly,
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilmember Kritz,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon, Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson,
Yes, that's 9 yeses. Those items carry. So we'll have 5 minutes discussion on the other 2 items.
Council President,
Yes.
since R2180 deals with the appointment as qualified purchasing agent of a specific individual, I must advise the council that since the individual name was apparently not given a rice notice for this meeting, not anticipating the action of the council, there can be no discussion about that resolution in open session.
Okay.
The recommendation to the council is that the resolution be tabled pending subsequent administrative notice to Mr. Coward, which means the rice notice, in the context of which he has the ability to elect whether or not any council discussion on the matter be held in closed or open session.
Or we could just vote on it, correct?
You could just vote on it, but there can't be discussion.
Yep. Okay, what discussion is there on R2181?
Well, you know what, Council President, I just want to follow up with Mr. Yatrofano, our town attorney. Mr. Yatrofano, rather than talk about Mr. Coward's position about anything that's there in this resolution, there are things that are public record. I mean, the salary, experience or qualifications for that position. So we can talk about that position in general, not Mr. Coward's duties of any sort. Isn't that correct?
No, it's not correct in this case, Mr. Kelly. The resolution names a specific individual. Any discussion on the body of the resolution or the position involved would by implication refer to the individual named in the resolution and would be inappropriate.
We can't ask if there's a stipend or if there's a salary addressing with that?
It's part of the same resolution, Mr. Kelly. That's my opinion.
Well, in the resolution, it doesn't say anything.
Mr. Kelly, I'm not debating it with you. You have my opinion.
Okay, and Mr. Yatrofano, were you aware that there would be a rice notice if there's any potential discussion about employee?
Mr. Kelly, you have my opinion. I'm not.
I asked you a different question, Mr. Yatrofano.
I'm not playing question and I'm not playing question and answer with you, Mr. Kelly. You have my opinion. That's it.
All right, Council President?
Yes.
Just a quick question on R-21-81. What is the threshold being increased to?
Mrs. Seeger?
I still have the floor, Mr. Salberg.
Oh, my apologies. Thought you were done.
That's okay. Mrs. Clipperton, were you aware that there was a rice notice requested for this individual? Mrs.
No,
Clipperton?
Mr. Kelly.
I'm sorry?
No, Mr. Kelly.
You did not receive an email requesting that Mr. Coward being riced, or has he been riced?
No, Mr. Kelly.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Kelly, you're no longer
forward that email again.
Mr. Kelly, you're no longer recognized. Mr. Salberg, did you have a question?
Again, just want to know for the record, R-21-81, what is the threshold being increased to?
Mrs. Seeger?
It is what it currently is, I think, 44,000.
So it's not being increased?
I'd have to
It's
look at the list.
17.5 usually.
No, wait,
Mr. Salberg.
excuse me.
Yeah, 44
I
is.
can comment on that.
Yeah.
Since the last increase that was made in the threshold,
the state treasurer has recommended to the governor, and the
Right.
governor has approved an increase from 40, which is in our last resolution, to 44,000, which is part of the local public contracts law.
Right.
4811-3 is the statute, and it allows for increases. What we're trying to do in this, in the resolution that we're passing, is to allow automatic increases that comport with the treasurer and the governor's recommendations relative to the salary, or strike that, the cap that's being placed on purchases. And
Understood.
that's all
Thank you, Mr.
without
Brown.
bid, Mr. Salberg. That's all without bid. That's what the purpose of it is.
Fully understood.
Yep. Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
I do, Council President.
You've already asked your questions. I'm
I
asking.
didn't.
You're out of order, Mr. Kelly.
No, we
Please
were
stop
asking it on
talking. You're not-
2180, Council
you're not
President. I'm doing
recognized.
2181.
You're not recognized, Mr. Kelly.
I'm
Does
asking about
anybody else have
2181.
questions?
Yeah, Mr. Jackson,
Yes.
could we vote on these already? It's enough discussion.
So you make a motion. I think we've had 5 minutes of discussion. If you want to make a motion to approve R21-80 and R21, or vote on
You would do it
R21-80,
independently, Council President.
R21-81, you can do it
You would do
together.
it independent, Council
I'll
President.
make the motion for both.
Okay.
Do it independently,
Does
Council
anybody
President.
want a second? Mr. Yachmani,
They
we have to vote on them
They should be
independently?
voted on separately.
Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Sackett, Vice President Sackett's making a motion for R21-80 to vote on. Does anybody second it?
He didn't
I'll
make that
second it.
motion.
I'm making the motion for R21-80.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sackett.
You're welcome.
Who seconded it?
Quinn.
Oh, Mr. Quinn, okay. Clerk, you can take the roll call?
Councilmember Kelly,
No.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilmember Crafts,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson,
Yes, that's 8 yeses, 1 no. Motion carries. Let's go to motion to vote on R21-81.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Quinn and Mr. Friedlander. Clerk, you take the roll call?
Councilmember Kelly,
No.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilmember Crafts,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson,
Yes, that's 8 yeses, 1 no. R2181 passes. Next are appointments with council consent. We have 1 for EMS, Renee Tolsma. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Quinn and Mr. Friedlander. Clerk, you can take the roll call? Are you
Councilmember
talking?
Kelly?
Okay.
I'm sorry?
Councilmember Kelly,
Yes.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilmember Crafts,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon, Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson,
Yes, that's 9 yeses. Motion carries. Item 12 was removed. Next is old business, new business, and council reports. You know, I've been looking at the past 5 or 6 meetings, and in general, most of the council members speak for a couple minutes and give pretty concise updates. So I'm going to limit it to 10 minutes this week. So everybody has 10 minutes. So I'll start with Ms. Noon. Any old business, new business, or council reports?
No, just wanted to say, I did get to attend my first spring cleanup this year and was very impressed with it. And otherwise, happy Mother's Day. And that's it.
Thank you. Mr. Kelly?
A couple of things. Like Mrs. Noon, my daughter and I, we participated in a celebration of Earth Day. We attended the Mount Hope cleanup over at Mount Hope Pond, and then we finished over in Lake Telemark. We collected about anywhere between 60 pounds over at Mount Hope and about 30 to 40 pounds over in Lake Telemark. I have to say, though, living in Rockaway all my life and always going to the Mount Hope Pond, I was pleasantly surprised on how much garbage was already cleaned up. I think Joe Ferrarello, when he was the director at one time, had placed receptacles out there to collect garbage. And there were some people that really took some definite efforts for their personal space in that area. I think, Mr. Jackson, you might have saw the one tiki area and the parking area all done with rock walls. And it was impressively clean over at Mount Hope, I have to say. I also wanted to comment, I've been seeing lately Mr. Swanton's staff have been preparing all the fields. They've been doing a phenomenal job that's over there. I also want to mention about Morris County, the DPW. They've been doing continuous repairs from Route 80 all the way up in Marcella area on Green Pond Road with potholes, catch basins, some additional drainage in some areas that are very wet. The sweeper was out as well, which is a good sign of things that are coming around. I also wanted to talk about some new business and old business. The one thing I have on the old business is the sewer commissioners and the meetings of the sewer commissioners. And, you know, maybe Mr. Perrone can help me, or maybe Mr. Yachafano. The town attorneys, when did you guys actually take over the Bobbyville sewer assessment? Was it when you guys became the TAs in 2012, or was it sometime after that? Mr. Perrone? Mr. Perrone, you are our town attorney and represent all of the council. You just can't select not to talk to one.
You're the only one who asked me a question, Mr. Kelly. I don't remember. I want to say the first time that I was it's hard. I'm not prepared to answer the question because I don't remember. But
okay.
My first time I do remember having any questions posed to me about Bobbyville were in 2018, I want to say.
Well, your invoices show that you've been billing the town since 2016 that I have. But I mean,
was it me specifically?
Well, I would think.
I don't know. I'm trying to look. You're talking about invoices. I'm talking about memory. I don't know when I first saw or heard about Bobbyville.
Okay.
All I know is that the first time that I undertook a project.
Right. Mr. Yachafano, do you have that same recollection?
I want to say it was in 2018, but I'd have to look back at files.
Yeah, your record shows something completely different. Even the minutes in October of 2016 show that your firm was involved. Mr. Yachafano, do you have a recollection when maybe your firm or yourself got involved with the Bobbyville sewer assessment? Mr. Yachafano?
Not without independently reviewing our records.
You don't have a memory of it whatsoever?
Not specifically, no.
Okay. Well, we do know, just for some of the minutes and how far we can go back with there, that in the last 5 years, we've had some indication, even from Mr. Burak, that we're just ready to move forward. And it's been ongoing to collect this additional $650,000 plus for the sewer assessment. You know, we had Mr. Sackett appoint members in 2019, and Mr. Freelander, and Manny, I do appreciate your efforts, but I have to say that in the last 2 years, there really hasn't been anything done. I know we had a little bit of a stall factor from the passing of Mr. Burak in November of 2020 on the 13th, but not to be able to have a meeting, it's kind of troubling to see that. You know, we have a chairman that's very vocal on Facebook, talking about this assessment and the commissioners. We have you in the past saying that you're trying to get a meeting together. What is the delay with gathering people that have time to do other things like participate in this meeting, chastise people on Facebook and talk about the commissioners and witnesses and whatnot for this. How difficult is it to actually have a meeting to have some discussion so we can move forward on this and potentially collect the 650,000 plus from the taxpayers?
Is there
Mr. Yatrafano, do you have any information on that?
Well, I heard you talking about things on Facebook and castigating the chair of the commission, but
I didn't
I'm
ask
not.
about investigating the chair. I just asked, when can we have a meeting that you're a part of?
I didn't say investigating, Mr. Kelly. I said castigating. That's the
Castigating.
same.
Okay. You know what? The
Okay.
way you said it, it sounded like you said investigating with your slur.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Kelly. I'll try to improve my speech for you.
You don't have to. I just saying I didn't understand what you said. That's all.
Okay.
So as a town attorney that's been part of this commission, when do you feel, or what is the issue of having a meeting? In your report on October 25th of 2016, you're ready to go. What has changed since then to now for the collection of that, other than the constant involvement of your firm in billing for this situation when we haven't had anything come to fruition yet, and just in the last 5 years?
Mr. Kelly, I have no idea what was said in what you claimed to be a report in 2016.
Well, you have you have your attorney report that you make at the end of a council meeting.
Okay, and do you have that recorded or quoted somewhere?
Well, it's in our minutes online. I'm sure the clerk can easily provide that for you.
And I'll wait till I can read them, Mr. Kelly.
Okay. So right now, you don't have any anticipation of when the next meeting for the assessors would be, the commissioners would be assembled?
Ms. Clipperton, Mr. Garbrandt, and I have been working very hard to try to make up for the defects in Mark Burick's absence. We are close to the point where we will be able to schedule a meeting. I will report to the council as soon as we're available to do that.
And what are those defects, Mr. Yatrafano?
Oh, well, okay. I'm tempted to be facetious, but I won't do that. When you lose, most unfortunately, a man who is not only one of the finest tax professionals in Morris County, if not the state, but also a walking lexicon on every detail involving the Bowlbyville Sewer Project, you have a lot of catching up to do.
Mr. Yatrafano, I recognize that too, but you're going to tell me for the last, 9 years or 8 years being the town attorney and those multiple amount of conversations that you had with Mr. Burak, you don't have anything written down or documented, memorialized from those conversations, anything in his reports, communication, written correspondence to assist you with that?
Mr. Kelly, I'm not here to get involved in a debate with you, which you've obviously
Not a debate.
for.
I'm asking you specific questions on a collection of $655,000.
You've had my responses, Mr. Kelly. That's all I have to say. If you have any other questions with respect to the project, you can put them to me in writing and we'll do our best to respond.
The other thing that we have here is one thing was before this pandemic that we had, Mr. Yatrafano, when we had in-person meetings, and I hope that we can move very quickly because there's other government agencies that are doing hybrids where they're doing it in person as well as online. And we need to get back in person to do some of this business. But before we had COVID, you were really most of the time, if not all the time, other than very rare occasions, would be the only sitting legal counsel at the meetings. Is there a reason why we have two legal counsels charging the town simultaneously for attending a virtual meeting when we never had that before? And if I may remind you, pre-2012, Mr. Buzak, who was a phenomenal municipal attorney, he would have a second attorney, but never bill the town for Mrs. Cafoni. So is there a reason why we have the necessary need to have two attorneys billing us at a rate to attend the meeting rather than just one representative of the firm?
The attendance of both Mr. Perone and myself has been requested by the administration owing to the volume of work and the separate subjects handled by each of us to do the job that's necessary for the township.
Well, tonight was a very small agenda. There was only one question about a rice notice that I notified the clerk a day in advance. What else did you have to perform here other than answer some questions about the commission? And
You have
Mr.
my
Ferrone didn't even have a memory of when it was. He thought it was 2018.
you have my response, Mr. Kelly. I'm not here to debate with you.
Okay, my next question of old business is, Mr. Jackson or Mr. Sackett, I know you guys talked about with, having meetings being noticed for virtual. Do we have any signs of anything going forward to have, in-person meetings? Mr.
We
Sackett?
haven't made any decisions yet.
Okay. Have you been following some of the other, government agencies that have been doing it in person?
Yeah, some are, some still aren't. So we're being cautious. I don't think there's anything we can't do virtually that we can do in person. So I think we're still getting our business done.
Council President,
Yes.
it may interest the council to know that as of the reports made today, New Jersey, despite the fact that our numbers are improving, New Jersey is second in the nation to Michigan in terms of frequency of infection and hospitalizations.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, we're trying to be cautious.
Will we have the rec committees? Are they in person or are they virtual?
I don't know.
Mr. Sackett?
Virtual.
Virtual.
And our planning board meetings and board of adjustment meetings, are they virtual or are they in person?
I participate by phone, planning board.
Yeah, but how many other members are there, Mr. Quinn, other than you?
I believe that all but 4 sit and the rest are by phone.
Oh, so some of them actually are in person?
Correct. The
Okay.
chair and the vice chair.
I would think that we would have some consistencies then if we were to do something of that nature.
We get our business done at any point.
We do, but it's much more, I think, a work session in person than it is virtual. That's for sure. And I really believe that's really about it at this moment. But at this time, I would like to make a motion, Council President. Council President. Yeah, I want to make a motion for Mayor Puzio and his administration to provide the plans for P1 and P2 to me in reference to the constructions going on.
Anybody want to second that motion? Okay, next speaker is Mr. Kritz.
Thank you. The elementary schools opened up this week, full-time in person. Very, very happy to see that. The middle school is, I know that they're looking for it. I just want to, again, give a shout out to the teachers, the administration, the Board of Education. I think they're doing a fantastic job in an impossible situation. The amount of communication is to be commended. I know that we've talked about teachers a lot. We just can't lose sight. We're at the end, we're coming up on the end of the year. We don't want to let up now. And I just wanted to give another, shout out to to our educators. Girls softball is now in full swing. It's my first year volunteering with them. And I must say, of having a lot of experience with other sports leagues in town, softball is a class act. Again, great communication, great COVID protocols. The girls are certainly having a lot of fun. Lacrosse, same thing. There is just, phenomenal adherence to the COVID protocols. So we've had minimal to no COVID disruptions because everybody's following the rules. And again, those two leagues are doing a very good job in a very, very hard situation. Vaccines are becoming more readily available. Please keep checking the websites. Make an appointment when you can. The more we get vaccinated, the closer we get back to being normal. I've been driving by Peterson Field and just, wow. I can't believe what's going on there. I cannot wait. I've spoken to some people in our basketball organizations who are just, beyond excited for what that is going to look like. So great job there. And then happy Mother's Day. Everybody stay safe. I know it's getting warm. You're going to want to start, having barbecues again. Just again, we're not out of it yet. We are close.
Stay vigilant and stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kritz. Next will be Mr. Quinn.
Thank you. Yes, Howard is correct. Peterson Field is looking phenomenal. The tennis courts, pickleball courts are in full swing, getting done. I could see them from the upper parking lot. And the basketball courts are looking excellent. Yes, spring sports have sprung. They're working well. I attended my grandson's lacrosse game. They are following all the protocols and they're having fun. It's great to see. Also, Mr. Kelly made a comment that the freeholders were against coming to Rockaway Township, and he mentioned John Crickus specifically that he had a conversation with. Well, I reached out to John, and John categorically denies it because John said Rockaway Township is a vital part of this county and that they visit as many towns as they can. In fact, they want to set up something over at the mall during the market time so that people can get information. They were going to reach out to the market to see if they could get a table to put up so that they could get people interested in understanding what they do. So,
Mr. Quinn. I'll look
Mr.
at that.
Kelly, you're out of order, Mr. Kelly. Nobody interrupts you. You're out of order.
I'm
Stop
just correcting
speaking,
him
please.
now.
You're out of order,
It was
Mr.
a member
Kelly.
of the-
You're out of order, Mr. Kelly.
It was a member,
Mr. Wittig said it, and you followed up and repeated it. So go ahead, Mr.
a
Quinn.
member of the public.
Mr. Kelly, you're
all
out of
right.
order.
A member of
Mr. Kelly, you're out of order.
All right. The senior services started up their program with the seniors going to different restaurants today. And I heard it had a phenomenal turnout. The seniors were looking forward to this. They are fully vaccinated and they are happy to get out and talk amongst themselves more than going just to doctors. So I'm very happy and excited that once a month they will be putting out these programs so that seniors will come together, talk and commiserate and get things done. I spoke to them via the phone about Peterson Field and different things like pickleball and hopefully some bocce. And they were excited to see Peterson coming along. Thank you, Joe. That's my report, and happy Mother's Day to everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Quinn. Next will be Mr. Salberg. You're muted if you're talking,
No, I
Adam.
see that. Hope I'm not taking any thunder away from Councilman Friedlander on this, but in my town here on Sunday, the 4th, Historical Society is going to be having a 4-hour discussion on the Hibernia Miners Church. Great history there. I've heard parts of this before. So again, to learn a little more about our town, hope everybody shows up. Should be very informative. Second thing I wanted to mention. Last few meetings prior to the previous, I was talking about the problem that we're having with the ash trees and the emerald boring beetles. I did have a discussion with some folks over at JCP&L after the commissioners told me that there was a 10-year plan. They actually have about $3 million set aside for tree removals. They do have a hotline on their website, so if anybody does have infested trees that are near the power lines, they will come by, cut it down free of charge. You'll just have to remove the wood. But again, just as a reminder, they're here. They're infesting just about every ash tree. And within 3 to 4 years, there is a 99% chance that that tree is going to be dead. So JCP&L is taking it serious. The commissioners are taking it serious. Take advantage of the program if you do have trees on your property that might be infected. And as everyone else said, Mother's Day will be occurring until our next meeting. So happy Mother's Day to all. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Friedlander.
Here I am.
All
Yeah,
right.
my thunder was taken away, so I'll say,
Sorry.
nah, that's okay. It's there for everybody, Adam. Anyway, library report, just state that the quiet study room is almost complete. Moving ahead pretty good with that. Also, the head guy, Scott, met with I mentioned last meeting that they were meeting with the mall. They were coming out with some ideas of the mall to maybe have a lot, one of their storefronts being used by our library. So that he's coming down to the next meeting and to discuss that. So there's a possibility that the Rockaway Township Library may be in the mall in some space. As far as the Historical Society, I mentioned last meeting that they were having two outside venues. The first one was the hiking Mount Hope area, and that was on April 24th, and they had a full house. It was, I think they were limiting it to 20 people. So that was good, and they had one of the Minutemen that knows all about the time. He was in front, and he was talking about the whole field, which was good. And like Adam said, this Sunday at the we're part of the Pathways of History, and we will be having a function at the Hibernia Library at 4 o'clock, 12 to 4, excuse me. Also at this time, I was down also with the I met Peter Tabbitt Saturday morning at the municipal building, and he reminded me about the cleanup day. And I took a ride down to Mount Hope, and I tell you, between him and the staff, they do a hell of a job with this clean community program. And there were a lot of people doing it. And like I say, I didn't get to see Councilman Kelly. He was out on one side, and Council President was on the other, and I was in the middle. So that was well received. A quick one on the farmers market. It's getting bigger. Weather's going to break, and you're going to start to see fresh corn and vegetables, and there should be another 15 vendors by the time the real warm weather hits. And that's it. Again, Mother's Day. To all the mothers out there and future mothers, have a good day. That's my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Friedlander. Mr. Brooks?
Thank you, Council President. Also, happy Mother's Day to all before I forget that, especially to my wife of 6 kids. She's busy. But also wanted to just let everybody know that the sewer areas on all the drains have been adjusted on Mount Hope Ave, and they'll be looking to start milling Mount Hope Ave between Mount Pleasant Ave and Mount Hope Road in the coming weeks. And so that'll be great. Looking forward to that. And other than that, baseball has started. For those that want to come down and be able to come out and watch some young men play baseball, come on out. They love playing to the crowd, that's for sure. So other than that, have a good one.
Thank you. Vice President Sackett.
Thank you, Council President. Yes, just so I don't forget, happy Mother's Day to all, and to our clerk, happy first Mother's Day to you. So enjoy it, and all mothers watching, my mom, my wife, and everyone, all the councilmen and council with your wives, happy Mother's Day. Also, like a lot have mentioned, all sports are up and running. I've been to lacrosse, I've been to soccer, looking forward to going to Babe Ruth this week. So all sports are up and running. A lot of protocols. My kids are constantly asking me, Dad, did you fill out my protocols in advance? So a lot of protocols, and they're all doing a great job. If you don't fill it out, they send you home. So great job by all the programs with their protocols. I wish it was all in one place instead of 12 different apps to do it. So that's maybe one thing we could try to, I know we've been talking about that for a while, but it is a little going back and forth for all the different apps makes it a little frustrating sometimes. And that's really it. Everyone stay safe out there. Thank you.
Thank you. My report will be brief. As Mr. Kelly mentioned, my wife and I were at the Clean Community event, and actually, Cara Salino from the Health Department is our coordinator, and she does a phenomenal job running it and coordinating and ordering the supplies and making sure both sites were staffed. We actually I filled 2 bags. We probably had 2 cases of beer bottles in our bags. So there was a decent amount of things we cleaned up, and I think everybody saw so many people out there. It's just a great day, for a couple hours to get out there and make our community a little bit cleaner. And like I said, thanks Kara and the rest of the health department. I think Jamie and Dan helped also. So thanks everybody for your time. Again, happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Remember, if there were any moms out there, none of us would be here. So happy Mother's Day to everybody. With that said, Mrs. Seeger, do you have anything to report?
I just have 2 things, Council President. I just want to give everybody a heads up that there will be a parade this year in the borough, that Rockaway and the borough and the towns are getting together. It's going to be Monday, May 31st at 11:15. The parade will march from B Street to Main Street. The mayor will be giving a speech. As of now, the parade is being scaled back just a little bit. Marching will be limited to veterans, American Legion, police, fire, and other military service related. As I get more information, I will pass it on, but I just wanted you to save the date. Mr. Brighton is the coordinator, is our representative, and he will fill me in if we have any other information for you.
Okay.
And the other announcement I have is our long-awaited Morris Commons lawsuit that has been happening since 2007, 14 or 16 years, has come to an end. Thanks to Ed Buzak, Dave Novak, engineering, and everybody else who testified and was involved with this. That the final judgment we will have soon. I will share it with you when it comes in. But we are now good to 2025 in our COA obligations. So that's a big accomplishment, and thank you all for the support. And as soon as I get that judgment, I will be glad to send it to you. And happy Mother's Day. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy Mother's Day, Ms. Seeger.
Yes.
Mr. Iacifano, do you have anything to report?
Other than Happy Mother's Day, no report, Council President.
Okay. Ms. Ferrante, anything to report?
Yes, just quickly, wanted to say, yes, we're moving along at Peterson at the basketball and tennis courts. We did have a little hiccup with the electric. We hit the electric on P3, P4, and I appreciate everybody's patience with that. It's up and running now. Hopefully we'll have no more hiccups going forward. We're moving up and out of the sub base. The next thing that you will be seeing is concrete coming into the site. So we'll be setting the perimeter curbing and the walking path. So we'll be close to final grade now. So another thing I want to reiterate is please pass along to the programs to avoid using that lower parking lot. That lower parking lot is closed. We're trying to maintain the cones and not let the public in. It is an active construction site, and we'd like to maintain it as a closed parking lot. I also want to report that we have started the interior renovations to the first floor of the senior center. So we have that to look forward to. I believe that's about a 60-day contract, and that's the interior renovations of the senior center, and that is funded by a community development block grant from the county. And that's it.
Okay. Mr. Dyer.
No report, Council President. Thank you.
Mrs. Palmieri.
No report, just happy Mother's Day to all. Thank you.
Yeah, and then the only other thing I forgot, I don't have the date in front of me. I don't know if you have it, Ms. Seeger. There's a shredding event at Mount Hope Fire. I think I have it on my calendar. Hold on one second. I just wanted to announce that to the public because I know someone out. I know a lot of people really like to,
Is it May 15th, maybe?
that sounds right, but let me just check. Yes, May 15th from 9 to 12 at Mount Hope Firehouse. There's a shredding event. So be ready to bring your stuff and get it shredded. So if there's no other comments and motion to
Council
adjourn?
President?
President,
Yes, yes.
we had I'm sorry, the calendar
Meeting
change.
schedule.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So we want to discuss that. So historically and Chrissy, do we have to vote on that or?
I would recommend voting on it.
Okay.
I
So-
believe if it's a general consensus, it's fine, but we should vote just to be safe.
Yeah, so historically, last year, I know, and I think the year before, we only had one meeting in the summer, so June, July, and August. I think last year, some things came up and administration asked that we have 2 meetings in June, but we've always only had one in July and August. So didn't know if there were any concerns with anybody with what was proposed in the email from Ms. Clipperton.
I have just a couple of questions on it.
Sure.
One, I mean, this was actually addressed, I mean, back in December of 2020, when we originally proposed this, and then we agreed on it in January of 21. I mean, I did ask that question because we've had a common practice of only having one meeting that's in there. And now that we're doing this, I mean, since we're having meetings hybrid, or I'm sorry, virtual, and we have to notice meetings anyways, I mean, we would just normally cancel a meeting rather than have to renotice and everything again. So if we go virtual, if we go in person before those dates, because of the annual notice that we had already submitted to the 2 newspapers, and maybe Mrs. Clipperton can correct me, we wouldn't have to renotice if we had those dates and we did it in person. Would that be accurate?
I'm sorry, I don't think I understand your question. Could you repeat that for me, please?
Yeah, the annual notice that we had, you've already noticed the newspapers on one notice for the meeting notice for the year. Is that accurate?
Right. Yes.
So we would have those dates already noticed in June, July, and August. Is that correct?
Yes.
And since we are virtual, we have to renotice everything because of WebEx. However, if we were in person during that time, we would not have to renotice. And the only thing that we would do is we would have a cancellation of each of those dates that are already scheduled and not have to vote on it, not have to renotice, not have to do anything. Would that be accurate?
Well, we do need to vote to I would recommend voting to reschedule the first meeting of June. It falls on June 8th, so that's an entirely new change. It's not just canceling a meeting.
That I understand on that particular date, because it was unknown at the time when we did it for the primary. I mean, obviously it was known because it's in the statute, but it just wasn't recognized when we were putting it together. So I'm a little lost on having this vote to have a meeting that's there when we can just notice the meeting. The meeting's canceled. We noticed the meeting for a different date on the 15th, like Mr. Kritz had recognized or recommended. But why do we need to vote on all of that to do that? We've never had to do that before, whether we had a special meeting, an emergent meeting, or just a regular meeting scheduled. As long as it's 5 days before the meeting to be commenced, why are we even taking action on this?
Council President.
Yeah.
He's going under the assumption that we may be doing this in person. But if
No,
the
it's not,
numbers,
Mr. Quinn. That's
Excuse
not what
me?
I said. My assumption isn't that. My assumption is we can easily have a meeting scheduled without having a vote to schedule the meeting.
Mr.
There's never been a
Gachafano, what do you
vote,
recommend?
Mr. Quinn, to have a meeting like this?
Mr. Gachafano, what do you recommend?
Well, we have 2 things to deal with. The meetings in July, we customarily cancel the second meetings in both July and August. The cancellation of those meeting dates, unless Chrissy disagrees with me, can be accomplished simply by notification that those meetings have been canceled. As to the rescheduling of the June 8th meeting date, I believe that should be done by resolution of the council because Chrissy, I believe, is going to have some notification issues, and it would be best if she has a resolution to publish the rescheduling of that particular meeting date.
Okay. So can we get, Chrissy, a resolution for the next meeting for us to vote on?
Well, just
I
make a
can
motion
prepare
from the
that.
floor. Why can't you make a motion from the floor?
Are you recommending us to have a resolution, Mr. Yachafano?
I don't think you need a written resolution. It can
Oh,
be
okay.
memorialized, that you can caption it as a resolution, and Chrissy can construct it after the meeting and present it to the council, to you as council president for verification anytime between now and the next meeting, as long as the council votes on it. So what I would suggest, and Chrissy, please speak up if you don't agree with me, the council select now the replacement date for the June 8th meeting, and we'll just incorporate that in a resolution that's voted on by the council tonight.
I'll make a motion to cancel the June 8th meeting and reschedule that same regular meeting for June 15th of 2021.
Anybody want to second that?
Jesus.
Second.
Thanks, Mr. Kritz.
Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kritz. Clerk, you can take the roll call.
Councilmember Kelly,
Yeah.
Councilmember Quinn,
Yes.
Councilmember Friedlander,
Yes.
Councilmember Kritz,
Yes.
Councilmember Salberg,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Councilmember Noon,
Yes.
Vice President Sackett,
Yes.
President Jackson.
Yes, that's 9 yeses. Motion carries. Thanks for your help, Mr. Kelly. I don't think there's any other business to conduct. So I have a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
So move, Mr. Quinn, all in favor?
Second, you
All right, everybody have a good night.
too.
Have a good night.